Hey, what's up guys? I'm Tom and welcome to Content Chronicles. Today, we're talking about the one and only Asmongold. Hey guys, just a quick little thing here. I spent a ton of time on this video, probably 50 plus hours just collecting all these clips, doing the research, making sure Asmongold got a fair shot here, give you guys an accurate representation of who he really is as a person. And if you want to see more videos just like this, go ahead and let me know down in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want. I can make more videos just like this one, covering other content creators, talking about who they are really as people, not being toxic or anything like that, just giving an accurate representation of how they make content, what they've brought to the online content community. And yeah, thanks for watching ahead in advance, and I think you'll really enjoy this one.
What's up, y'all? Guess who? That's right. It's me. It's your boy Asmongold.
Asmongold, the self-proclaimed neckbeard king of Twitch, has had a meteoric rise to fame, becoming one of the most watched Twitch streamers in the world, with his highest active peak viewer count over 280,000. Yet despite his amazing success in the WoW and gaming community at large, many critics might call Asmongold a toxic elitist with no regard for anyone, and he's been the subject of several controversies from within his community and outside of it, causing him to take massive breaks from streaming. But for all the haters, there are arguably way more people who do love Asmongold because of his self-deprecating humor and funny personality. But what is the true story of Asmongold? What is the story behind the online persona? Is Asmongold or Zach just a neckbeard who got lucky and struck it rich? Is he just some random Texan guy who lives in his mom's attic, who lives only to play video games and drink gallons of soda at a time? Or is he actually human just like any of us, with his own story, his own trials and tribulations, and his own huge aspirations? This is a story of how Zach became Asmongold and how he became the neckbeard king of Twitch. Zach was born in Austin, Texas in 1990. Growing up, Asmongold was your typical geeky kid who enjoyed video games and card games. From what I could find out, Asmongold seems to be an only child, and he has two parents, a mom and a dad. His dad seems to be more of a strict parent or not a hippie, and he has recounted how his dad voluntarily went to stuff like the war in Vietnam. He's also characterized his dad as very frugal.
My dad, one time we were at Wendy's, and I order a cheeseburger, and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, "You don't need cheese." My dad doesn't like to spend money.
But it seems like both parents were very supportive to Asmongold, especially once he found success. In fact, Asmongold's dad made him a treehouse when he was a little kid, and it's the location spot of many of his vlogs. In 1998, when Zach was just a ripe 8 years old, the name Asmongold was born.
A lot of people ask me, where did I come up with Asmongold? Now, it's kind of a weird story here. Now, basically, back in the day, and I mean back in the day, like 1998 or something like that, we were all down in like my backyard, and we were trying to pick out like code names for, I don't know, some kind of bullshit that we were doing that 8-year-olds do, you know what I mean? And like a kid that was a couple of years older than me, and he was like, you know, somebody I really look up to, and you know, all that. You know, he was like giving us out all of our code names, like, as you could say, or like aliases, and I was Asmongold, and that's fucking legit how I got the name. Like, that's it.
Now, even at this age, Zach had begun making and filming videos with his friends, since one of his friends had been given a really expensive camera.
His mom bought him a video camera, and this isn't like the video cameras that you're seeing now. This is like a legitimate video camera that goes on your shoulder, that actually has a VHS tape that you put inside of it that you record directly to the VHS tape. And we had that video camera, and we were lunking that shit around in, you know, the late 90s and early 2000s, trying to make some sort of footage for us to maybe show our friends and to show as many people as we possibly could.
Not only that, but at this time he was also interested in learning how to play around with Flash and animation, and he made his own little skits.
I got a program called, I think it was called Macromedia Flash, and I got really into animation, and I was about 12 years old at that point, And this was before really the internet had a lot of guides or tutorials or anything. And I sat there for about like 2 years or so, and I taught myself Flash, and I learned how to animate things, and I did this all on my own, and I just did this to create content again for people to watch.
Although I haven't been able to find any of these, he did say at some point he wanted to put them on Newgrounds when he was first starting out, but I don't think he ever got around to it. Some 3 years later after this, he was given his own expensive camera from his dad.
He spent $300 to buy me a relatively high quality Sony video camera, and I used that video camera for my entire childhood and also all the way into being about 20 to 21 years old.
And I'm pretty sure he still has this camera to this day. Man, he really loved this thing. And it was quite special that his dad got him this camera, because his dad was more of a frugal type. Now, there doesn't seem to be many recorded videos of Asmongold being super young, around the age of 11, but around the latest I could find, or the earliest, was around the age of 15 or so. This is when I found Asmongold playing Magic with his friends and making videos that are quite casual. Now, none of them really have a narrative thread, but they are evidence, I think, of Asmongold's desire to entertain his friends, hang out with people, and make people laugh, even from a young age. Now, in high school, it seemed like Asmongold had a solid group of friends, and he solidified himself as a little bit of a computer nerd. He would play Super Smash Bros. At school on projector screens, and he has frequently recounted how much he enjoyed his computer maintenance classes. In fact, in one video, he even admitted that he thought he might grow up to be some kind of computer repair guy. But then he realized he might actually have to do actual work. In the meantime, he would spend a lot of time playing games and going to fast food restaurants like Taco Bell with his friends in high school.
And of course, we'd go to 7-Eleven in the meantime and get like a hot dog or something. But other than that, that's pretty much all we did.
Now, there's a lot of video evidence of him hanging out with his friends around this time, and this self-deprecating identity or gimmick of being an angsty or lazy teenager who doesn't clean up and just eats fast food is one that he's been kind of crafting since around this age. Now, even among these early moments, he kind of used fast food and his disregard for health to craft a sort of lazy, I would say, geeky neckbeard persona. Now, of course, it's hard to exactly say how much of this is an act, how much of this is persona, and how much of this is actually Zach. But I think he's kind of been doing it for so long that I would wager some parts of it are real and some parts of it are kind of played up. And now, he obviously has a sweet tooth. He doesn't really like cooking that much. He has odd sleep hours, and he likes playing video games for most of his waking hours. But I do still think that he does play it up a little bit, mostly because it's really funny, and it's become sort of kind of like a running gag.
If you're a fast food connoisseur like I am, you know that this is a 44-ounce drink as opposed to this McDonald's drink is a 32-ounce. And see, at the same price, you're getting 12 more ounces, and Jack in the Box uses higher quality, because they use more water, and not as much syrup. They don't have as good of a blend.
Asmongold started playing WoW around 2008 when he was in high school, and he frequently has recounted how it started out.
I bought the game, and I didn't ever even play it. I bought the game from this kid at school, and in my computer class, and he's like, "Yo, play this game." I'm like, I don't know, and he's like really trying to get me to buy this game. And so I'm like, all right, I'll buy the game. You know, like a drug dealer, of course. And pretty much, I take the game home and I put it on my bookshelf, and I never think about it because I mean, this was during the summer, like July. You don't go to school in July, and so I basically put it on the bookshelf, and I just didn't really think about it because I mean, this was during the summer, like July. You don't go to school in July, and so. I basically put it on the bookshelf, and I just didn't really think about it for, I don't really know, like probably 3 or 4 months.
So he came home, and one of his other friends had found the game, and was like, "Hey, why aren't you playing this?"
He's like, "Yo," and he's like looking through my stuff, you know, because he liked to do that. Really would piss me off, but yeah, he'd look through all my stuff, and he sees like the game. He's like, "Dude, you have World of Warcraft?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have the game." And he's like, "Dude, this is the best fucking game." And I'm like, I don't know, you know, Halo is pretty great. And so I was a little hesitant.
Asmongold didn't really seem to have much interest in the game at the time. However, later on, he would go and watch some videos online. Apparently, he saw this video of an undead mage fighting people, fighting bosses, and he thought that was a cool idea.
You know, so the first thing I do is I go to YouTube. I go to YouTube and I look up World of Warcraft, and I see a video of this mage soloing a dragon, and I'm like, this is the most badass fucking game in the world.
So he went ahead and made one as well. An undead mage was his first character. Now, he was around 16 at the time in 2006, and after 2 years of playing the game, Asmongold, or Zach, started his first YouTube channel called Zach Rar. Now, one might wonder why Zach didn't name the channel Asmongold, since it was kind of like his childhood nickname. And it makes me kind of wonder if Asmongold was really his nickname that much among his friends, or most people just call him Zach. It seems kind of like later on, especially on the Zach Rar channel, that Asmongold sort of became his online identity, and not so much the identity that he shared with his friends. And later on, he would refer to himself more as Asmongold and not as Zach, even though the main channel at the time was called Zach Rar. Now, the Zach Rar channel initially had a few funny videos like The Rat, which are pretty entertaining now. They're kind of reminiscent of that early age of YouTube, and in one video, he's just catching a rat with his friend.
Retard. Wait, no, let me do it better. You're gonna break it. Out my face!
Another one is called My Mom Hits Level 60.
Level 59. She's right about to get to level 60. She's that far away. How do you think about this? I'm happy. Good.
And this one has gotten quite popular now, although I think the views were obtained later on, not when he put it up. And I think this was a pretty cool video. One of the only glimpses that we've seen of Asmongold and his mom kind of interacting, showing his mom playing video games. And, you know, one can't help but wonder, has Asmongold ever really played the game with his mom? If she's actively playing WoW and he's playing the same game, it kind of makes you wonder, did they ever play? Did they ever do PvP, do dungeons together? Now, from 2011 to 2014, Zach uploaded videos on the Zach Rar channel sporadically, sometimes months apart, so he wasn't focusing that much on videos. It seemed kind of just like a hobby or for fun to him. Now, most of the videos just consisted of him playing WoW. They were just kind of pretty plain videos, super basic. It was pretty great. But a lot of these videos are just kind of like this. Now, eventually, he would kind of make more ranting style videos or show videos of himself talking in his room. And one of the first videos like this was Asmongold's lair, and which he showed off the extremely kind of messy, untidy state of his room.
Well, that one's only starting to mold, so I've got a little bit longer on that one before I really, kind of feel bad about leaving it in here. This part's actually clean up here. Actually, I don't know if I have to clean it anymore because I still have, probably put like 5 or 6 of them there. My character, Asmongold. There's Chiefs. I had Chiefs. That was one time. No, another time right there. Chiefs. Actually, the desk isn't even really that bad. I thought it was worse. Fuck. Oh, movies. So yeah, get a good look at it. There we go. That is the fucking battle station right there.
And now this video combined with videos like No Internet, No WoW, /risk videos, as well as the classic eating a pastrami at 4:30 a.m.
Making a new video about nothing. Just got back to my house. Just fucking, chilling like a boss. That's how I always do. I'm eating a pastrami sandwich, by the way. It's right there next to the camera. That's why I put my hand there. There it is.
I think we're the foundation of Asmongold's kind of neckbeard persona or personality. In fact, Asmongold frequently reacted to these videos later on with a particular pride or even fondness.
You know where I got this? Off the side of the road. Right there, that's my bed. That was from a sofa mattress we got off of an ad at Craigslist. And we just took the mattress and I put it on the floor. So this was like some sort of a sex toy that we found whenever we were about 12 years old, and we kept putting it on our faces and our heads, and my dad knew what it was, but nobody else did.
That's my rabbit right there. I told everybody that I put holes in a rabbit so I could stick my dick in it. That's actually not true. I never did that. So I've got all that. That's my character right there on my my Drake during Wrath of the Witch King. Those were all of my drinks right there. Obviously, I've got my keyboard tray. That's my phone if I ever needed to call President Obama. Okay, that's a direct line right to the White House. And those were a bunch of Whataburger numbers that I stole whenever I would go there at 2 a.m.
It was almost as if he was showing off how gross he is or was. Now, some of these videos are over 10 years old, and they're some of the first instances where he acted this way, but I don't even think someone at the time, not really that many people even witnessed it. So maybe he was kind of doing these videos for attention. And it's hard to say if Zach really enjoys living in this kind of filth, or if he just kind of does it because he finds it funny to show off to people online. You know, does it bother him that he lives in filth like this, or is it just kind of how he is? Now, these early videos, I think, could have been attempts to kind of get his channel viral or to get people to watch him. Several other YouTubers found success at doing similar strange viral content. And now even today, people do similar content with stuff like mukbangs and stuff like that. And while it's a little bit different, I would argue that what Asmongold does with his room or what he eats and drinks can be considered perhaps the same thing. It's kind of like shock entertainment. I think there is a certain element of fascination that people have in observing something gross and taking a perverse kind of satisfaction in observing it but not being a part of it. And I think Asmongold kind of understands that, and he also lives in it. I've also found evidence from Zach himself that he kind of admits this Asmongold character is sort of a persona or a stage presence or exaggeration of his personality.
This is going to be kind of more of a longer video. I guess like kind of a vlog. And I don't really do a lot of those. And I'm just going to completely do this out of character, no stage persona, nothing. Like this is just straight up, I mean, in a way it's not even Asmongold, it's just Zach.
Not only that, but Asmongold also talks about how his personality on stream is dialed up to 11.
You obviously want to entertain people and make sure people have a good time. So, you know, the way that I kind of do this is that I kind of just dial things up to 11. And I don't necessarily, I'm not a different person whenever I stream. You know, I'm just, I just act, it's like I act like the most not spastic but like kind of sporadic and aggressive and like kind of crazy and I don't really know, sporadic version of myself, right? It's not necessarily a different person, it's just more or less an accentuated personality.
So it's hard to say exactly how much Zach is like Asmongold and vice versa without actually knowing him in real life and meeting him. After years of making small form content that was pretty amateur, Asmongold finally decided to make a new channel around 2013 and 2014. But there were also real life reasons why he made the new channel. According to Asmongold himself, he had started going to business school, but he had to stop going to it since his mom got sick.
2 Novembers ago in 2013, at that point I had just canceled my plans to go to school because my mom got sick and I had to take care of her and deal with all of that. And after applying at Hobby Lobby, at Walmart, and after getting fired from Sam's Club, I still have the little thing there, I figured that maybe, just maybe, it might be time to try something else. And I made this channel, and I honestly, I didn't really know where I was going with it. I never, honestly, I'll be real with you guys, I never expected it to get as far as it has, and if you guys watch my older videos, I would have no reason to think that either. And honestly, I don't know, like, I figured that I would make a new channel because a friend of mine, that's where the Virtual Exchange name comes from, by the way. A friend of mine and I, Alec and I, made a website together, and we were going to call it Virtual Exchange. And so I had originally made this YouTube channel for the website to kind of do some updates and stuff. And for whatever reason, I decided maybe I should just make Warcraft videos for this website, or for this channel, instead of kind of continuing my old channel. So I went right here to Throne of the Four Winds, and it was so terrible. It was just so horrible. I went on there and I was in like Vin or Skype or Mumble or something with somebody else while I was recording the video showing people how to solo Alec here, and at the same time doing it live, and I'm talking to this guy like throughout the video partially, telling him about how great I am, about how I'm going to get them out while I'm recording and showing people how to do it.
The new Asmongold channel was much different from the older channel that he had. In his new Asmongold channel, Asmongold brought more of his face and personality into his WoW guides by purchasing a webcam to show his face in the bottom left. On the new channel, he also focused a ton on making informative and helpful guides for the game World of Warcraft, or in some cases, even Diablo 3. Each video consisted of how to complete a certain achievement, defeat a boss, or how to obtain a certain piece of gear. In roughly just 3 months from his start of the new channel, Asmongold had made 38 guides / videos on World of Warcraft and gained his first 100 subscribers. This would probably actually be Asmongold's slowest growth ever in the history of his channel, and it makes sense because he was just starting out. But if you think about it, that's only around 3 subs a video per average, and in his first 100 subs video, he thanked his subscribers and showed off a secret cave, which would later kind of be a theme in these thanking his subscriber videos. And you can see here in this video, Asmongold is pretty different than he is today. He's more soft-spoken and mellow, and definitely not as confident or outspoken as an online content creator.
What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. And today I checked on my YouTube channel and I saw that I had over 100 subscribers, and I wanted to make a video about that and thank everybody for the support. I would just make a video where I'm just talking to you guys about kind of the intent of the channel and kind of going forward what I'm going to be doing. But I figured at the same time I'd show you guys something that you probably wouldn't see in any other video. Okay, I'm in the bottom of Oldham, and I'm going to show you guys a secret cave.
Now, while 100 subs doesn't seem like much, it seemed to light a fire underneath Asmongold's office chair, giving him confidence that at least somebody was watching or interested in his videos, and he would turn up the heat even more. 45 videos, and 3 months later, he was at 1,000 subscribers. This was much better growth, almost by a factor of 10. However, making almost 90 videos in 6 months is no small feat. That means Asmongold was making 1 video every 2 days, on average, which is quite a lot. Now, Asmongold also decided to focus a lot on Diablo 3 towards the end of Miss Pandaria, probably because there was a significant content drought, maybe around a year or so. That's pretty much how long these content droughts work in World of Warcraft. And 4 months later, Asmongold had 3,000 subs, which again is really good growth for a small channel. In his 3,000 subs video, Asmongold even talks about the possibility of streaming because some of his audience was requesting it.
Another thing is that people ask me a lot about streaming. It may happen whenever I get the new computer. It's also linked to that new computer. And basically I need to get a new hard drive and a couple other things. A motherboard. And basically whenever I do that, streaming might be a reality. But until then, probably not so much. But we'll see.
Now, for 2.5 more years, Asmongold pretty much stuck to his tried and true formula. He would make tons of WoW videos and guides that were super in-depth. And to be honest, they're mostly kind of boring unless you're specifically trying to get help for some achievement. But then every once in a while he would make more of a fun video, more of a personality-based video that would sometimes actually do very well and be posted on Reddit. And that's initially how I found Asmongold so long ago. And it was here that Asmongold really cemented his audience, his character, and loyal following. In just over 2 years of making videos, pretty much in the same way without much variation in schedule or content at all, he amassed over 100,000 subscribers. Now you might be thinking, wow, this is crazy good growth, and how did he do it? And you'd be right, because for a lot of Asmongold's videos, he relies almost entirely on his game knowledge to make content. Now, he's been playing the same game for years, and it's very easy for him to make content he already knows a lot about. This lets Asmongold make authoritative content on a niche subject quickly, which is good for viewership and organic search results. In some ways, you can argue that a lot of Asmongold's videos aren't very good at all. They certainly aren't flashy by any stretch of the imagination. In some of the videos, or at least in most of the videos, the quality of the camera lighting isn't very good. It's dark. He's just like in his attic. The videos have no editing or really any catchy thumbnails either. Most of them clearly aren't scripted, and none of them really have that clickbait of titles to draw people in. But I would argue that the titles themselves were probably a strong point at this time instead of a weakness. Most of the titles were pretty relevant for what people were searching for, meaning that they were good for search engine optimization, since people would find his videos by searching for guides on how to do stuff that he was talking about in his videos. And in fact, Asmongold even talks about how he would do this to great success, sometimes getting over 70,000 views just because he was the first to make a guide for a video game like Diablo 3. Not only that, but as Asmongold made more and more videos, sometimes, according to him at least, sometimes he even made 6 a day.
This was kind of a while ago, but whenever Reaper of Souls came out, whenever 2.0, which is the Diablo patch, came out, I went fucking balls to the wall with making Diablo videos. Like, I made like 6 videos in a day, and like, I just, oh my god, like, if you typed in Asmongold on Google or on YouTube, the searches, it would autocomplete to Asmongold Diablo before it auto-completed to Asmongold World of Warcraft. And so I was more well known for Diablo than I was even known for WoW. And so the reason for that is that I put so much work and so much effort into making sure that I was the top person. You know, I would always have the exploit videos out day one. You know, I always had out, you know, like different farming methods day one. You know, putting out that effort, and it was really hard. And I got a lot of ad revenue for some of those videos, because some of those videos got like 70,000 views in a day.
And he did show a good understanding of how to make good content, even if his production quality has always been pretty mediocre. For example, Asmongold talks about content research, market competition, search engine optimization in one of his videos. Now let's be clear, he doesn't use these terms explicitly, but I could tell that he knows what he's talking about, and he has an innate understanding of these marketing principles of content creation. Sometimes these things takes years to learn, but Asmongold seemed to have a pretty good understanding of how to make content that would get views pretty early on, only after having his channel for a year or so. Now, Asmongold talks about how he would search YouTube to see if there was competition for his ideas and guides.
Now, the first thing that I do is I make sure that I look on YouTube sometimes. I haven't really done this very recently, but I used to always look on YouTube, and I used to make sure that nobody else has done a guide for this before.
More specifically, he would find content areas or guides he could make with little competition, or if there weren't that many videos on the subject. Then he would make videos in this category or title area. While this may seem obvious, finding video ideas in certain title and content niche areas that aren't overcrowded is actually pretty difficult. He was able to do this very effectively in a predefined niche, even when YouTube overall is pretty saturated with gaming content, but all the same, he managed to successfully make videos that had little competition and would drive organic search results to his channel and thus get him more views and subscribers. Now, if there were other videos that were similar to his, what he would do is watch the videos and make his own better and more informative to help the players in the game.
Because if somebody else has done a guide for it, I can look at this guide and I can say, hey, is this a good guide or not? Or is this a good video in general? It doesn't really necessarily have to be a guide, but something very similar. And so I look at this video and I say, you know, this is a pretty good video, but I can improve on this, I can improve on that.
Now, Asmongold also smartly understands audience retention and how to gauge audience interest. He talks about how you have to engage your audience and make them come back.
Now, whenever I make a video, I look at either doing two things. I look to either educate or I look to entertain. That's it. If my video doesn't do those two things, one of those two things, hopefully both, and some of them.
In some ways, all of his content seems to be directly related to what his audience wants. He says that instead of making just videos that you find entertaining or that your friends would like, you have to make videos that your audience wants.
There have been quite a few videos, like some videos where it's just like me and you guys talking, and sometimes I just don't really put them out. You know, I think that, you know, like, people aren't really going to get anything out of this. They're going to finish the video and be like, oh, well, there's 10 minutes gone, right? And so I try to make sure that that doesn't happen. I see a lot of people when they've sent me videos and they show me these videos, and these are hilarious videos for them and their 3 friends that made the video, but nobody else is really going to think this is very funny.
And I think this takes a good amount of self-awareness, and it's one of the hallmarks of a great content creator, to persist and keep making content even when it's not always just for fun. After all, after the honeymoon phase of making content does sort of become work for everyone. But I also think that the mentality of focusing entirely on what the audience wants instead of what makes you happy can be a little bit of a slippery slope. It can also be dangerous if taken too seriously, and I think this specific attribute and characteristic of Asmongold is one that leads him to his many breaks from making content in the future that we'll definitely see.
What I really care about is making the most people happy, and ultimately making videos that people care about and that people like.
Not only that, but Asmongold is also a major proponent of honesty of content and not shilling out for random companies.
I think that there's a really big problem whenever a content creator, such as myself or these other people, puts making an income above or between helping their viewers and catering to their viewers. And this is a huge, huge thing. I really do not like, I guess, like the commercialization of just like video games in general. I know a lot of people might not like that, I'm not really very into it. I'm not very into, oh, buy a t-shirt, get like these different codes, everything like that. I just like playing video games, you know what I mean?
In 2014, he complained how creators would shill content and make sponsored content, and to be honest, it would ruin the integrity of many YouTubers' channels. I think this is definitely true, especially now in 2020. This is a way bigger problem, and it's something that Asmongold has never done, which gives him way more credibility in the gaming community. You never see Asmongold, for example, shilling out Raid Shadow Legends, do you? That would be ridiculous, and people would throw a shit fest. Asmongold's strategy is fundamentally good advice, I think, and it served Asmongold well when he was starting out. Because even though Asmongold's content was weak in terms of production quality, his game knowledge, natural understanding of YouTube and business strategy, and his ability to make videos quickly started to pay off. And there's something I think a lot of people don't realize when they compare Asmongold's success on Twitch to YouTube, and while Asmongold never became, maybe the king of YouTube or one of the most popular YouTubers like PewDiePie, he was still a very successful YouTuber, especially if you consider that his entire channel was based on one game, World of Warcraft, especially a game that could perhaps be considered past its prime. Now, over the course of his entire YouTube career, Asmongold has made over 919 videos on his channel, getting over 76.8 million views, and he has, as of right now, over 324,000 subscribers. Now that's a good following and a consistent upload rate for a number of years, just making videos on one game, and I actually think that is one reason Asmongold decided to shift his attention away from YouTube, because he started to realize that he had sort of hit the ceiling for being a WoW YouTuber. While I did think having a niche did help him, it sort of did limit him as well. But in the fall of 2017, Asmongold's video cadence finally started to slow down. He would continue to make lots of videos and guides, but not at the same rate as he did before.
Asmongold, where the fuck are the videos? What are you doing? Why aren't you making any videos? It's been over a week. What's going on?
So why did this happen? Well, it did seem to be a dilemma that Asmongold was trying to figure out. It seemed like he had two choices at this time, and he seemed very aware of his audience ceiling for the type of videos that he was making. On one hand, he could either make technical guide videos that built his channel up from the ground up, and just keep doing the same content he had been doing for 3 years and get less views, or perhaps he could kind of shift his content strategy and make more generalized content discussing controversial topics of the game, as well as news on the game, or just videos that focus more on his personality and less on guides and achievements and more technical based videos.
It's more that I want to engage as many people in my audience as possible with the video, and I feel like a lot of times more of the, I guess, like more technical guide type videos don't really engage that many people. But the problem with that is that a lot of people, I always have them message me, and they always tell me, like, hey, thank you so much for making your guides on X, Y, or Z. They really helped me a lot. And hearing that, I think recently it's really helped me realize that even though maybe not everybody is going to be watching those videos, the people that do, it really helps them, and it makes the difference for them. I have really kind of two different directions that I can go in. I can go back to the mid 2015 Asmongold, 2014 maybe, making videos on a much more regular basis about different things that I'm doing in the game. I've been playing the game a lot more recently, just in general, And in doing that, there have been little tips and tricks and things that I've wanted to show people, and showing it on stream is nice, but making a video about it I think would be even better. The other direction that I can take things in is doing things about how I've done them for the past 4 or 5 months, right? Making videos maybe like 2 or 3 or 1 to 3 videos a week, going over different general things. Those videos tend to get a lot more views, but all of that being said, they don't really help people in the same way that the guide videos do.
Now, at the time, it was clear Asmongold wasn't sure what type of content he wanted to make, but in the end, I would say that he made the second choice of making more generalized content on the channel and also focusing on streaming itself. Now, while Asmongold started streaming full-time in 2017, there had already been several instances where he had expressed interest in streaming and also tried to stream before. Asmongold had his first ever stream sometime around in 2013.
One time I streamed in 2013, and I streamed myself killing people in Timeless Isle, and I had 0 viewers, and then I had 1 viewer. A guy came in, he called me a fag, and he left.
This was before Asmongold's main channel had even started on YouTube itself. Then on his first ever real stream, after starting and having some success with his new YouTube channel, he was able to get around 250 to 300 viewers, which is actually really good. The first day he kind of focused on streaming, I guess according to him, he made around $150, which is not bad at all.
I actually got 250 viewers on my first ever stream. I think actually it might have been 300 or something like that. And we went to the Dark Moon Fair. We were just doing little viewer raids. I was inviting people, and I was just having the time of my fucking life, and I really enjoyed it. And I told my dad that I was going to be doing it the night before, and he's like, why? He's like, don't you have other things to do? Why are you going to stream? I'm like, well, I'll just do it for fun. He's like, okay, all right, that's fine. And then I go to Wendy's with him the next afternoon, and I'm like, yeah. So he's like, so how'd the stream go? I'm like, good. It made $150. And he's like, so you're going to be doing that again today, right? I'm like, I don't know about that.
Then after that, he streamed kind of once every 2 weeks or so, and eventually he was able to get 800 to 1,000 viewers per stream. So it's easy to say that he would kind of stream a little bit and then he would stop. And some might wonder, well, why was he so inconsistent when streaming when compared to his consistent videos? How could one of the world's most popular streamers have such a hard time starting out? One reason could be that Asmongold finds streaming a little bit mentally exhausting, both in terms of making the content and just being on camera for a set amount of time in front of a large audience. In fact, he's described in the past that streaming sort of doesn't even appeal to him because he can't just jerk off all day.
One thing I don't really like about streaming is I'm always on camera. You know what I mean? It's right now is how I do videos, or how I go about my day. I get up, I'm like, porn. What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold. Porn, Taco Bell. Porn, go to sleep. And so if I'm streaming, I can't be at the same time. I don't think they let you do that. And so streaming is going to be a definite maybe. And it probably will happen in time. And so hopefully I don't disappoint anybody, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it when I do actually get to be able to stream.
In fact, Asmongold has even made several videos before he started streaming a lot, expressing his concerns about streaming. He would seem excited about streaming, but somehow also self-conscious because he didn't know what to do on stream.
I don't really know how this is going to go. I streamed for a little while, quite a while ago, and it went okay. I wasn't really that big of a fan of it, but that's because I didn't really have a lot to do.
And this is a characteristic that would kind of follow him throughout his entire streaming career. He would always kind of have a trouble on knowing what to focus when he was making streaming content, because it was much different from his original form of content of just technical based guides. Even in 2020 and 2019, there's been Reddit posts where he's kind of shown that he's kind of still struggling with finding out what kind of content he wants to make for his stream. And perhaps one reason Asmongold would get burnt out of streaming is that more specifically, he just gets burnt out on streaming or playing WoW a lot, since it's his main game and there are significant content droughts, If WoW isn't doing good or it's not fun, I think it makes it hard for him to make content on it. And I think this is eventually why he decided to start doing more variety streaming, especially to get more viewers. I would also like to say that I think Asmongold is more of an introverted character and he does need time to recharge on his own. And streaming is not really a conducive environment to that. He has also expressed that streaming gives him a little bit of anxiety as well, and when he's not doing good at a video game, it's hard for him to just pause and kind of take a break, because you can't really do that on stream. Now in 2017, Asmongold actually got suspended on Twitch for telling an offensive joke. Now he hasn't been very upfront about the joke, and he won't hardly mention it at all in any of his videos discussing the suspension. However, after digging around a bit, it seemed like he made an untasteful joke about Hurricane Katrina. And this joke specifically seemed like it could have personally angered someone who worked at Twitch. Now, Asmongold also had a theory that perhaps if he had been a partner and made this joke with that, nothing would have happened and he would not have been suspended. And later on, he even discussed that this suspension had sort of pushed him more into becoming a Twitch partner and taking Twitch seriously.
So anyway, a couple of weeks ago, or I don't know, it was like 3 weeks ago or something like that, I got banned on Twitch for being a bad boy. I got contacted by Twitch, and they offered me in the process of talking about that and a couple of other things and follow-up conversations. They offered me partnership, and long story short is that I am going to be getting partnered with Twitch in the next couple of days.
This, I think, is when he fully committed to streaming for the first time. He decided to go all in and try to forget about his past anxieties and try to stream every single day. That said, I still do think at this time, even while he was committed, he did have mixed feelings about streaming. Some people don't really understand why Asmongold waited so long to become a Twitch partner or waited to get a sub button for so long, because he clearly had a pretty big following and enough active viewers at that point anyways, somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000. But in a few of Asmongold's videos, he kind of explains the rationale behind not becoming a Twitch partner and how the commitment is quite a big deal to him.
In a way, like one time somebody told me that whenever you get something positive, like whenever something really, really positive and good happens in your life, it's equally as stressful, or at least close to as stressful as a bad thing, right? So if you're getting married, if you're buying a new house, a new car, etc., having a kid, all of those things are equally as stressful as something bad. And whenever I first heard this, I thought it was complete bullshit. But I'll tell you guys something right now. Is it this last week or so? It's totally true. Okay, I've been totally stressed out about some really great things, and I think this has probably been one of the biggest ones. Now, a lot of people might not really understand that, and I can understand why they don't understand that, but I think the best way for me to communicate that to you guys is that, in a way, I like the innocence of not really having a sub button, not having any responsibilities, not having any sort of expectations, not having anybody feel like I owe them something, and I just log on, I bullshit on stream for a few hours, I log off, and that's it. You know, the relationship is open book and closed in that stream time, and that's it. And that's one of the reasons why the whole partnership button and everything did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Now, despite Asmongold's anxieties about it, he did seem to commit to streaming anyway. He switched up his schedule to start more around 8 o'clock every day, and he went hard, dedicating most of his entire time to Twitch as a platform instead of using YouTube as his main platform for content creation. So you might be wondering, well, why did Asmongold do so well streaming, almost even from the beginning? Well, I think Asmongold's always had a super strong foundation of his YouTube channel. He made videos on a super consistent basis, multiple videos every week for nearly 2 years. And since Asmongold's entire channel was based on one game, that being mostly World of Warcraft, he could sort of port that audience over to Twitch directly. Which I might mention, never had a particularly strong audience for WoW itself. Even from the beginning, Asmongold was one of the top WoW streamers out there, especially since a lot of the top WoW YouTubers at the time didn't really stream that much or have that interesting of streaming content. I would say that he had actually probably more competition on YouTube for WoW content than he did on Twitch. Not only that, but I think Asmongold took the same attitude and drive from his YouTube channel and kind of laser focused himself on Twitch.
So I've always been pretty good at running, and I was always one of the last people left running back and forth across the gem to like really, really shitty Euro music from like the 90s, right? I was always one of the last people, and it was like either me or some of my friends, etc. And every time that I did it, every single time that they were saying, oh yeah, we're going to do the pacer test again, I would always tell myself that I'm just going to run 20 laps. I'm just going to stop. And I'm just going to sit down. And I'm just going to take a break. I'm not going to try. And at about lap 15 or so, or maybe right at the beginning, I could never quit. I could never just stop. I could never just, whatever. I'll just sit down and let everybody else do it. I can never not go as far as I can with something. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but I always had to put in 100%. I always had to put in 100%. And it's the same with streaming. It's the same with Warcraft. It's the same with anything that I do.
Once he committed, he fully committed himself entirely. Asmongold was great at making guides, I think, but I think he's even better at making lighter based, kind of funny content, especially when he's interacting with viewers and his friends like McConnell, telling funny stories about his life, showing his weird personality live. And Twitch, I think, is a perfect platform for that, even better than YouTube.
They're drunk.
All right. So no blood trolls. Don't worry about that. Just
this is great.
Yeah,
it's a
misspeaking there.
As we've discussed, Warcraft is not so much a world of black
As
and white
right,
for the most part. A lot of shades of gray. Blood trolls are bad dudes.
Okay.
They're pretty black. We're gonna kill them.
Got it. Next question from Rhyme, who asked, is the allied race system going to be a BS?
Hey, you know that if you hold control on your keyboard and scroll up, your character looks up? Hold control on your keyboard and scroll up. What the fuck? Look! What? How did I not know this?
Good
all
idea.
This money and he can't invest in a decent Blue Yeti or a Sennheiser microphone. I mean, what the fuck is this dude doing with his money?
What is this dude doing with his money? I don't know, boys. I have no idea. I don't know. What does this guy do with all of his money?
Now, 2018 was undoubtedly a great year for Asmongold. In January, he had an average of 7,000 viewers, and by December of 2018, he had an average of 24,000 viewers, making him the largest WoW streamer, no questions asked, and one of the most large and successful channels on Twitch itself, period. Now, in the summer of 2018, Asmongold's success on Twitch led him to start dating another popular Twitch streamer called Pink Sparkles. Now, Asmongold himself probably wouldn't frame it that way, in that he got a girlfriend because he became famous, but he himself even admitted that one reason Pink Sparkles took notice of him was because of his popularity on Twitter.
How did we meet? Actually, like, you DM'd me.
Well, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Well, we had that conversation before.
That's right. Yeah.
What did I even say? I kind of want to look at our old conversations.
That was going to be a long time ago. Let's see here.
He wanted me to DM him.
I did. I kept commenting on her posts, and like
Yeah.
my comments on her tweets kept getting more likes than her tweets did. And I thought that if I did that, she would DM me. It worked.
Yeah.
There we go.
They officially started dating around March 2018, and it wasn't really until winter of 2018 that their relationship became public. Now, asked why they kept it hidden so long, Asmongold admitted that he doesn't really like making his personal life public. Now, when Asmongold and Pink Sparkles became public with their relationship, many people would comment in his chat or in places like Reddit that Pink Sparkles, or Izzy, was only dating Asmongold because of his newfound popularity on Twitch.
Oh, shut the fuck up, chat. Whatever.
Yeah, they just get mad, dude. Like, they get mad no matter what.
Which by at that time, Asmongold had clearly become one of Twitch's most popular streamers and clearly the biggest streamer for WoW. People would call Pink Sparkles a leech, even on live streams that Asmongold was doing. Now, Asmongold's relationship with Pink Sparkles has always been a controversial topic among his community and the internet itself, but I want to take a moment to examine that and try to explain why. First, it's easy to see the differences between Asmongold and Pink Sparkles. In a way, they are complete opposites. On one hand, you have Asmongold, someone who lives in his parents' attic and has been creating a Neckbeard and neat character for a number of years. His entire identity and character online, that being Asmongold, is someone who is almost purposely not appealing to women. His character, and to some extent Zach himself, seems to care nothing for his appearance, his surroundings, or even his health. And Pink Sparkles, on the other hand, is exactly the opposite. In fact, her entire appearance is so carefully manicured. She wears lots of makeup and has had a lot of cosmetic work and surgery done that she's even showed in vlog content. My theory as to why people became so toxic to Asmongold with his relationship choice is that it was the first time his public character of Asmongold sort of broke, and it made people upset because their immersion was lost. You know, what is the difference between Asmongold and Zack after all? With Pink Sparkles, he became more of a Zack and less Asmongold. Izzy is obviously an attractive person, and she could have some merits to her personality that makes her fun to be around. So it's not really out of the question that Zack probably did enjoy his time being with her. But at the same time, I think a certain amount of people really identify with Asmongold's Neckbeard neat character. Maybe not to the same extremes that he portrays the character, but I think a lot of people do find solace in the lifestyle that he represents. It's more comforting to play WoW all day and do nothing when one of your favorite role models who's very successful says to just do exactly that and not feel bad about it. But when he started dating Pink Sparkles, I think that sort of shattered the illusion of who he was and the character he had built up for himself. People were upset, and I think in a weird vicarious way, they sort of felt betrayed. Asmongold is a Neckbeard character who is a NEET who lives in his mom's attic, whereas Zack perhaps is the multi-million-dollar Twitch prodigy who now has a super hot girlfriend. Perhaps it would have been more understandable, explainable, or likable if Asmongold had instead dating someone who wasn't so much like Pink Sparkles. In fact, Asmongold has criticized the exact same sort of streamer that Pink Sparkles is in one of his previous videos.
Female streamers, girl streamers, people are always pissed off about them. I used to be a lot. I'm not as much now, but recently I've been seeing some crazy ass shit. I've been seeing some PG-13 porn stars on that website recently, bending over for donations, bending over for subscribers, doing all kinds of scandalous, scantily clad shit that they should be doing for tokens and not donations and subscribers.
She's obviously someone that really relies on her appearance and markets herself to an audience that appreciates it. She's less of a gamer on Twitch, arguably not a real Twitch streamer, as some might say, and more of a sexy personality on Twitch, who just happens to use it as her current platform to live stream. And I think that has even become more apparent in 2020, especially since she has turned to other platforms like Instagram and OnlyFans to make money. Not really platforms that gamers use, right? The same elitist gamer culture on Twitch who likes Asmongold, therefore hates Twitch streamers like Pink Sparkles who just seem to like using it as a platform. They're not real gamers per se. It sort of does make Asmongold a hypocrite to on one hand criticize girl gamers on Twitch and then do a complete 180 1 year later and start actually dating one. But at the same time, in Asmongold's defense, the issue is a little bit more complex than people who might call him a hypocrite exactly. He talks about in a fairly lengthy Reddit comment he made how throughout the time of him streaming, he kind of matured a little bit and changed his perspective on female gamers. He talked a little bit how about in 2016 he had an ex-girlfriend who he had encouraged to stream to perhaps make a living, but apparently she got a lot of abuse and harassment. No matter how she dressed or acted, when she streamed, she got so much hate and abuse that apparently this girl he was dating actually stopped streaming entirely. This kind of gave Asmongold a new perspective. Perhaps it's not as easy for girls to stream on Twitch as he initially thought, and just a good looking appearance isn't just enough to make it big and be successful. He says after that he still held a certain amount of resentment towards female streamers, but it was diminished and he was less, he didn't really talk about it as much anymore, about how he didn't like girl streamers. And then when Asmongold started to get more views and more active viewers on his channel, he looked around on the website and noticed that while there was some fair amount of streamers, kind of mid-level streamers, there was actually not that many streamers that were super successful on the platform or more around where he was getting in terms of popularity. He noticed that most other female streamers had only around 1K viewers, and while they got maybe more donations for this level of viewership, they didn't really ever get to the top of the platform. Now at this time he didn't really seem to go against girl streamers anymore, But he still didn't think that blatant sexuality and showing your boobs popping out should be allowed on Twitch. However, Twitch adjusted its terms of service, and it kind of started cracking down more around streamers who were using Twitch to just kind of stream sexuality and kind of encourage people to watch them for the sexuality. But at the same time, while Twitch tightened their restrictions on this kind of content, it also kind of tightened their restrictions on what kind of content could be allowed on Twitch itself, which actually ended up influencing Asmongold. He says more moderation on sexual streamers was good, and it had been what he had been pushing for years. But at the same time, while he got what he wanted, was it worth it for me to neuter my content so that some girl who I'd never talked to before can't bend over for subs? I asked myself this question and came up with the obvious answer. No, I had traded my own freedom away for the ability to take away someone else's. From 2017 to 2019, it could be argued that Asmongold had nothing but success on Twitch and on YouTube, and he streamed for thousands of hours with thousands of views all the time. His success and newfound confidence even made him branch out from playing WoW to play challenging games like Dark Souls that he had never played before.
Oh wait, no wait, what the fuck? That is my face. Ooh, my controller rumbled. Let me put that on my dick next time.
And during the later half to the end of 2018, he broke a few milestones like reaching over 10,000 active viewers at once. But in the end of 2018 and up into 2019, Asmongold took his first break from streaming. This was a huge thing, since it was the first time that Asmongold had ever stopped streaming pretty much since he had started and become a Twitch partner. Some people thought maybe he wouldn't ever stream again, and a lot of people were confused. They didn't understand why he did this, especially since he had become so successful and had been doing so well on Twitch. In short, it seems like Asmongold's success had given him a lot of anxiety, so much so that he actually seemed to have a mental breakdown after having some kind of pain in his chest after taking an Ambien.
A year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, whatever. This was like at 4 a.m. I had taken an Ambien the night before, and I'd gotten up, maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and I was walking down to the convenience store to buy a drink. It was like 4 a.m., dude. I was fucking pumped. I was gonna get back home, eat a pizza, play WoW until 7 a.m. Man, going big dick all night. I'm walking down to the store. I feel a really weird feeling in my chest. And like my heart rate felt weird. It was the first time in my whole life that I felt mortal.
After the panic attack or chest pain or whatever it was, Asmongold clearly felt his mortality and the value of his life much more. But since he was so successful and doing so well on Twitch, he didn't want to stop working and take a break just to enjoy his life for a bit. Instead, Asmongold kept streaming, he kept grinding, he kept streaming every day for hours and hours, and there were multiple factors that were beginning to weigh on him more and more that made him not want to stream at all. One reason was that he also wanted to take a break because his current content machine, World of Warcraft, was in decline. He realized that Battle for Azeroth was not going to be good, and it's also one of the reasons why he actually stopped making videos on WoW itself on YouTube.
It had been eating away at me for a long time. And I had just felt like I didn't really know what I was doing with my life. And at the point of like BFA, like right before BFA came out, I was going to take a break. Because there's a reason why, like, you think about like on my main YouTube channel, I'd stopped making videos on my YouTube channel. Why did I do that? It's because I thought BFA was going to suck. I had no real excitement about the expansion. Boy, was I right. Holy shit, boy, was I right.
Asmongold was burnt out on the main game, and he had consistently been playing WoW every single week for 2 years streaming WoW. People wanted Asmongold to play games like Dark Souls and other games, and they would criticize or backseat game him when he played these games. They would say stuff like he's not good at the game, and they would try to tell him what to do, and he didn't really enjoy that. Eventually, Asmongold got to the point where he was playing games he didn't want to play, and he had started to resent streaming altogether.
Do I care about these other games? To an extent. I mean, like some of them, yeah, like I like Dark Souls. But I've always been really passionate about playing one game and being really good at it. And, yeah, okay, yeah, right, I'm not good at WoW. But
trying to be good at it, because I'm not really very adept at, adapting to different things in games, because I'm not used to playing a large variety of them. And it's not something that I particularly enjoy a lot. And that got me to the point in my stream where I was making these, I was doing these streams and I was playing these games that I didn't really want to play, and my audience wasn't really liking it either. So I asked myself, it's like, what are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? That led me to a point where I asked myself, well, what do I really want to do with my streams?
By the time Classic WoW launched, Asmongold had come back from his break from streaming and was streaming just as much as before. In fact, he had taken a part of the Classic WoW beta, and he had some really cool streams and really fun moments, like the one where the WoW team spawned in a boss for him to fight on his stream. But when Classic WoW launched, Asmongold's popularity exploded. And there are several reasons I think why this happened. Number one is that Classic WoW was a super hyped up game. Almost everyone who had ever played WoW was interested, at least in some way, of trying the game again and reliving the nostalgia they had when they were growing up. This meant that there were a lot of people interested in the game overall and any content associated with it. Now, Asmongold had been hyping the release of Classic WoW for years, ever since its BlizzCon announcement, and he'd been one of the major people speaking out to bring the game back so people could play it.
And today, I want to talk to you all about official Blizzard Legacy servers. Now guys, that is something that I thought that I would not say in the next 5, probably more likely 10 years. But here we are, Blizzard announced vanilla servers alongside their new expansion, Battle for Azeroth. And guys, I have to talk about this. This is something that I've been wanting, something that I've been pushing, something that I've been advocating for over 2 years. And here we are, all of those efforts have been realized and our voices have been heard.
It was clear he was super hyped for it, and I think he also kind of gave people hype too. So while other people jumped on the bandwagon for Classic WoW, people like Ninja in fact, Asmongold had already been on the bandwagon and had set himself up to be the classic WoW streamer, especially since he had played a lot of the beta to great success and good viewer numbers. Asmongold was the biggest WoW streamer on Twitch long before Classic WoW's release as well, like I said. So since Classic WoW became the most streamed game on Twitch, by association, he sort of became one of the largest streamers on the platform just by playing the game that had become so popular. Now, another reason I think that his streams did so well is that the game had really bad logging queues and issues that prevented people from playing on high population servers for the first month or so. So when people couldn't log into the game, they would go and find the top streamer on WoW, which was Asmongold, and watch him play the game. I know I did this the first couple days because I couldn't even get into a server to play. So I think his streamer numbers got even more inflated. And now another reason I think he did so well at the release of Classic WoW is that Asmongold has single-handedly organized a huge, massive guild moment on his selected server called Faralina. He created a guild called Olympus with his friend McConnell, and it was a massive guild that let him directly lead and interact with his community on a scale that I don't think has actually ever been done before. This is by and large one of the largest streamer guilds ever seen in any game. If you wanted to play with Asmongold and be in his guild, you could devote enough time, level up quick, and it was actually a possibility to play with him. All these variables, and probably even more that I didn't account for, led Asmongold to new groundbreaking records. And at his peak during the Classic WoW release on August 26th, he amassed 283,753 live viewers. This is an insane amount, putting Asmongold as the 14th most watched stream during 2019, above even channels like the Overwatch League and Blizzard itself. Not only that, but Asmongold's viewership continued past the explosion. Sure, there was some drop off a little bit, but he held on to at least 110 active viewers for nearly a month. Suffice to say, when the hype for Classic WoW eventually did die down, the numbers did fall closer back to his original numbers, around 20 to 30,000 active viewers at a time, which is still nothing to scoff at. And it was actually around this time when Asmongold decided to take yet another break.
Well, it's about time for that video, isn't it? It's about time for me to talk about why I took a break from streaming, and what my plans are going forward.
From his tweets, it's easy to see that Asmongold was struggling with his stream near the end. It seemed like he was burnt out on Classic WoW, and he had wanted to return back to retail and play more Battle for Azeroth, but his fans didn't really want him to. And remember when I said that Asmongold was pretty smart to realize early on that he figured out that making his audience happy, it would make him successful? Well, it was true. It did make him very successful playing Classic WoW. But I think realizing that and always conforming to it has always been a tricky dichotomy for Asmongold. On one hand, he feels a need to cater to his audience or give them exactly what they want to be successful, because he realizes that's what he has to do as a content creator. But at the same time, he puts so much work in, and he has to find a balance that he's doing what he wants and making a living, but also being able to explore his own interests and motivations to play games. After all, if someone just caters to the audience over and over and over and doesn't enjoy what he's doing, eventually he will get burned out and not want to stream anymore. And I think that is exactly what happened to Asmongold, especially towards the end of his really good streaming days of 2019. Not only that, but Asmongold seemed to also have other issues ongoing in his life, besides his ability to just enjoy making content and please his audience at the same time. It was around this time that he actually did break up with Pink Sparkles, his girlfriend that he had been publicly dating for around 2 years. Now, Asmongold himself never talked too much about why he and Pink Sparkles broke up, but she actually came out and explained a little bit to her audience that she had kind of gotten depressed living in Austin, and she didn't really like living with Asmongold that much, and she wanted to move back to California. She also has indicated that Asmongold didn't really seem interested in moving out or getting a place of their own together, which sort of stunted the growth of their relationship. Later on, Asmongold, in his description of his taking a break from streaming video, actually clarified a little bit more about the relationship, because there seemed to be some kind of confusion, I guess because he was just being so vague about it. He clarifies that they didn't break up with each other, it was more of a mutual thing, not that he broke up with her or that she broke up with him. It was a mutual decision that they talked a lot about, and it seems like to him that they're still friends. And it seems like he's really kind of posting this because he doesn't want his ex-girlfriend, Izzy, or Pink Sparkles, to get hate from his audience, especially since his audience is so considerable, and their relationship had always been pretty controversial, and of course, she's kind of a controversial figure as well. But that seems to be kind of like his final say on the discussion, especially since he says it didn't really have anything to do with the viewer comments or anything Twitch related. So he's kind of clarifying that perhaps, you know, the negative reception to their relationship in the public, it didn't affect it so much as other kind of factors in their relationship, which makes sense. But I still think that everyone not being happy with the relationship probably did kind of sour the relationship a little bit, even if that's not the reason why it ended. That said, while I don't think necessarily the criticism of their relationship was the factor that ended up making it end, I do think that people criticizing the relationship so much did have a negative effect on Asmongold, and it did make him pissed off, as you can see here.
Like, people just approached my relationship with Izzy, Pink Sparkles, in the most obnoxious and hostile way possible, and it really turned me off. I didn't like it at all. People making these weird comments and like, for example, saying that she only started dating me whenever I became popular, and all these like weird agendas that they would put on it, like, oh, it's a gold digger or something like that. She was living with me at my fucking mom's house, and we would go to Chipotle, and I'd take her to Goodwill. You know, like this, it's just so blatantly false. And it was just repeated over and over and over and over. And the worst part about it is that these were people who I considered, these were like viewers in my stream. They weren't really my friends, but it still felt like a betrayal to me, because this was somebody who I really cared about, and people are just completely shitting on it and turning it into this weird, contrived rationalization to fit their worldview, rather than just being happy for me or trying to just, accept it for what it is.
Throughout the classic release, there had also been an ongoing presence of drama in his streams and in his classic experience overall. Now, sometimes this actually made for pretty entertaining footage. But after time, it seems to weigh on Asmongold more heavily.
I don't want it to be a weird drama-filled circus full of these obnoxious clout-chasing characters that are trying to get attention on classic WoW, and then a whole audience of people who are eating it up like fucking candy. Oh, it was fun for a month, man. But after that, I didn't need a season 2. And it just kind of got old. I'm going to be honest. I felt like it was boring. It was played out. And I just got tired of doing it, honestly. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
He has said repeatedly that he prefers his stream to be more lighthearted and funny, and not to have just drama all the time, because it just kind of stresses and wears him out. But since the release of Classic WoW and his organization of his massive guild, there have been lots of guild drama with lots of people calling out Asmongold for giving favors to his guild, or that he could be encouraging malpractice in the game like ninja looting, which is essentially stealing gear from other players. Some posts on Reddit exploded with entire communities speaking out against Asmongold, saying that he was accepting gold from other players and not a true classic player. Hate and criticism of Asmongold reached a new all-time high, which in a way makes sense because he became popular so fast.
There were so many people watching the stream. People were watching every single word that I said. There was a time that somebody threatened to kill me and my family, and I said I didn't like to be around mentally unstable people. And then people wrote articles, and it was like a big controversy around me saying that I hate people with mental disabilities or that are mentally ill, which is clearly not what I said. I was clearly talking about somebody who was threatening to kill me and my family.
But even other popular WoW streamers began to receive hate for ruining the classic experience by having huge streamer guilds, which didn't exist in classic WoW. Almost in a way, an entire counterculture movement popularizing hate against WoW streamers became to be the norm for classic WoW. As I detailed, I think the entire anti-streamer culture and mass criticism against him really did seem to affect him.
Of course, reading like a really butthurt person on Reddit, like, you know, write out some huge diatribe of why I'm worse than Hitler is funny, right? But whenever you're doing it every day, it's old.
The drama was fun at first, it seemed like, and he thought it was funny, but eventually it became so persistent that it did seem to just kind of annoy him. Not only that, but it seemed like the game itself wasn't as fun as he had hoped, and he had given hints of this in the past that he already kind of had done all the content already, so it was simply just doing the same thing again for nostalgia.
I had always planned on streaming it very seriously for 1 month, half and half for the next month, and then maintenance mode, playing content patches after that, because I played vanilla WoW. I knew pretty much what to expect, and I knew that content would become cyclical in the same way it is with retail WoW to an extent, except for there's less of it, even though the stuff that still is there is more important in a way.
And other content creators like Preach have actually made videos saying pretty much the same exact thing.
Maybe Blackwing Lair will be something I want to come back for and have a quick look at, but I know I'll be in the same boat again, which is the boat of, alright, I've seen it again. Cool. Bye.
They've done it all before, so there's only so much more enjoyment that they can get from doing the same thing. And besides the discontentment with the game and his past relationship, it also seemed like the years of playing out the Neckbeard character of Asmongold have finally started to take their toll.
The first break I took, it was during Legion actually, it was right around like Nighthold, somewhere around there. I stopped streaming because basically I had like one of my teeth break, and I didn't like people seeing me without a tooth on stream.
But more recently, it seemed like this time it had been his front tooth that fell out, which was also a pretty big deal to him. It's almost an interesting take on how Zach and Asmongold are in some ways the same person, but also very different. The casual disregard for his own health and years of drinking huge sodas on stream finally seemed to make one of his front teeth fall out. And it seems like he spent some time getting some painful dental work done. The interesting thing is that Zach didn't really want to be on camera with one of his front teeth missing, which is a kind of an interesting dichotomy. On one hand, Asmongold was proud enough to show the disrepair of his room and surroundings for years.
I've got it pretty cleaned up. I've got this area is not so clean, but if you just look at it from this direction, it's actually pretty nice, right? Oh, yeah, actually from like right. That's good. See, that's real nice. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So I've got some pizza on the floor. That's some. There's a bag of 2 bags of Wendy's, a bag of Taco Bell, and 2 bags of Taco Cabana.
And he would even vlog his poor eating habits by showing himself going to fast food places constantly, or going to Walmart just to kind of binge buy sweet candies and treats. But now, at the same time, he doesn't want to show how that lifestyle has really affected his personal life, really affected him. And perhaps it could be said that Zach doesn't want everyone to realize how much he is like Asmongold. Maybe the lines have blurred too much between the persona he pretends to be and who he actually is. And now we are at the end of this tale of Asmongold. We've seen how he rose from nothing but a few hundred subs on YouTube, how he ascended to the top of the Twitch throne. We've seen his faults and his strengths, and how it's affected him as a real living person even to this day. And he is still currently on a 4-month break from streaming. But have we answered all the questions we sought to answer? Who is Asmongold? Is he Zach, or is he just a persona?
Be yourself +1. Okay? That's what I try and do.
What's the difference between the two people? Asmongold is Zach dialed up to 10. He's a loud, funny, sarcastic, and carefree neckbeard that we all wish we could be every day, but can't due to our responsibilities. I think everyone has lived vicariously through Asmongold through the years, and they've experienced the nostalgia of their own youth, manifested into someone that none of us really want to be, but at the same time it can't take our eyes off of. He represents the closet neat neckbeard with a dirty room that is obsessed with video games that we can all identify with at some level. But beneath the persona of Asmongold is a man called Zach. He's the real man beneath the persona.
But I really just want to emphasize so much how thankful I am and how glad I am to be part of this, and for you guys to be part of this as well. You know, if you guys look back at my old channel, Zach Rar, you guys would know that it's been quite a journey, okay, and it's been a rough road as well, and I'm just humbled, and honestly, you know what, I'm so thankful, but I don't think about how great it is now. The only thing I think about is what I can do with what I have now to give back more to you guys, and where I can take things from here.
He's a man with 2 parents he clearly loves and that love him. He's a man who has his own friends and ambitions, his own interests and passions for the creative, and a man who can fall in love with someone who is his very opposite, if he so chooses. He's a man whose years of hard work had given him everything almost he could ever want, but at the same time, this career choice and character have taken its toll on him as well.
I think that probably the last 3 or 4 months of streaming that I had were probably some of the worst 3 or 4 months of my entire life. I fucking hated it.
Maybe Zach has given too much to all of us. Maybe he's given too much to Asmongold. He's a man who has lived perhaps too long inside this persona, shunning his health and personal mental health in favor of his online persona, his success, and his audience. But we can't argue that he's successful. We can't argue that he can be as funny as anyone. And we can't argue that most of us just want him to come back and give us more entertainment. And I think all of us love to watch Zach screw up his room and make it as messy as possible. And I think that most people would admit that they find a perverse enjoyment in that. But for Zach's sake, I just hope that Zach can find it in himself to take the strengths of his Asmongold character, the funny jokes, and the outgoing personality, but also find a new way to be entertaining without relying on the facade of a self-destructing neckbeard that cares nothing about his health or body, so that we can have an even better, healthier, and stronger person to watch every day on our TV screens.
Sometimes I'm just the kind of person that needs breaks. I like to go really hard on something and then stop. That's really all it comes down to. I have to go on and be myself and, you know, try to stream and entertain people, because I know that there's a lot of people out there who their mom's the same, their dad's the same, their family's the same, their problems are different than mine, but they're all really all the same. And I'd like to think that for the few hours that I was on, that maybe I could help them forget about it.